Michelle Obama once said these words about herself, and I quote, "I am an example of what is possible when girls from the very beginning of their lives are loved and nurtured by people around them. I was surrounded by extraordinary women in my life who taught me about quiet strength and dignity." With those words from Michelle Obama, I welcome you to today's edition of the program Leading Women. My name is Toyin Adepoju. My guest on today's edition of the program is a woman I will call a woman of substance. When you see her, she breathes elegance. Her life story teaches how godliness, charity, humanity, hard work, determination, patience, and a never-ending quest for knowledge are co-essentials for soaring higher than an eagle. It's my pleasure to bring to you my conversation with Her Excellency, Dr. Mrs. Florence Ajimobi. Enjoy. It's a pleasure having you on Leading Women. Now let's talk about you growing up in Ibadan in your time. What was it like?
It was lots of fun. Like most people know, I schooled all my life in Ibadan. I started with children homeschool at the age of 3, and then I went to Bodija International School at the age of 5, and then I went to Our Lady of Apostles, Mary Way, Odono, and for secondary school, and then I ended up in the Ibadan Polytechnic. But Ibadan was such an amazing place, very peaceful, and as students in the Polytechnic, every Saturday we went out. There was nothing like robbery, there was nothing like being scared. Honestly, it was an amazing experience for me. And that was why, even when I got married, I always prayed that I would have the opportunity to come back and live in Ibadan.
Yeah, well, I find it quite interesting that during your time in the Polytechnic, you emerged top 5 in your class, despite mixing schooling with trading and not forgetting to party and all the rest. How did you strike the balance between your social and academic life?
I knew when to stop. I'm a bookworm. Despite the fact that I like to go out, I was a trader, I read in the nights. When everybody is sleeping, I read till about 4 a.m. So I knew when to strike the balance, and that's the best way to go about it. Life is not all about work. Enjoy yourself, but when you have to read, you read. And when there are exams, when I have exams coming up, then you know that it's not time to go to parties. So I made sure that I focused on my studies. And by the Polytechnic, then the standard was very high. 96% was the pass mark. So if you don't work hard, there's no way you can pass out of the Ibadan Polytechnic.
Well, compared to young ones today who really want to party hard, and for some, it's not all about education. It's not about emerging top. It's about knowing what to do to earn big money. For some, it's like going into cybercrime. For young ladies, it's about getting a rich boyfriend. What do you say to that?
I think all this depends on the background, the upbringing, what parents would have imbibed into their children. I quite agree that we have peer influence today, and it is on the rampage, the very high percentage. But I think parents should try and have more time for their children. I'm not saying sit at home with them all the time, but try and have a heart-to-heart talk with them. Let them know the values of life. It's not all about money. Life is not all about money. I mean, you will want to be comfortable, but at the same time, you want to have an impact in life. So once you talk to your children and you let them know, I can give you only what I can give you now. You might wake up, people that their parents die, it's not a planned thing. So I tell my children that, and they keep saying, "Mommy, why are you talking about that?" I said, no. So what it means is that there's a time for everything. A time to play, a time to work hard, a time to study, a time to make money. So if you imbibe that in them, because that was my own guiding principles, even when I'm partying and I just remember that, and then I just know I caught it. And the same thing I have told myself, parents should, because these children, they are very vulnerable. There's peer influence. There are some children that don't even have people to talk to them. So if you have children around you, just talk to them. They do listen. They do listen. You might sometimes think they don't listen, but sometimes they do. They listen. When they have to put those things into practice, into use, they do, honestly.
Do you think that we have parents who really have time for their kids these days?
I think they want to have time. Some of them, they want to make ends meet. But I tell people, and I'm still saying it, there's a time for everything in life. I'd rather starve, drink garri every day, and have time for my children so that I can build the foundation for them. Once the foundation is wrong, there is nothing you can do. I remembered when I had my third child, I had to resign from work, from paid employment. I just had to, because there was no way I could leave those 3 children to one house help. And if I didn't stop then, I don't know what would have happened.
Well, while growing up, you seem not to have a lot of friends. Could it be parental upbringing?
I have quite a few friends, and they're still my friends today. I have friends from 1969, from 70, 76, 77, 80. When growing up, I wasn't a very friendly girl. I was, maybe that was my background, I don't know. I kept to myself a lot, but getting married to an Ibadan man, I had to open up better. But I still have my friends from childhood, and they're still my friends today.
All right. When people see you, they see elegance, class, and easygoing comes to mind. What's the secret?
Fear of God and peace of mind.
Tell me more about this fear of God. You seem to be very conversant with the Only Book. I listened to your interview recently, and in handling that situation, you quoted some few scriptures. I don't, when people see you and your class, sometimes they don't really expect that, but you're exceptional.
I don't think so. I think when you get to that so-called class, when you get to that so-called level, there is nothing else, because for any man to succeed in any position, you need God. He's the only one. If God is not in the journey with you, please forget it. So I just knew when we were rising that I just had to intensify my prayers. And like I tell people, God has given us a blank check. It's an open check. But if you take a blank check to the bank, is it going to be honored? So I have to constantly tell him what I want. God, this is what I want. So I write my name on the blank check he has given me, Florence Ajimobi. Peace, health, money, anything I want. Children to be obedient, anything. Because if we don't ask him, you're not going to get it. So I let that fear guide me in everything. I'm not a perfect woman, and nobody can be perfect. We all make mistakes. But when I make mistakes, you can be rest assured, it's the mistake of the head, not of the heart. I'm not going to knowingly hurt people. I'm not going to knowingly do hurtful things to people. But when I make mistakes, I'm very, very fast to correct myself and apologize if I need to. So that is what having the fear of God in you. If we all have the fear of God in us, Nigeria will be a better place.
Yeah, I believe. And I believe prayer works right.
Of course it does. There's no other thing. There's no other magic to anything. When you see anybody being successful, even when things don't work the way you want, it's not that God is not answering your prayers. Our time is not God's time sometimes. And sometimes, if only we can see the dangers in what we desire, we'll ask God to leave it. If we believe that God is faithful, and you have a relationship with him, your prayers will be answered. Not at your time sometimes. Sometimes what you desire might not be good for you at that particular time. God doesn't change. He's God. Even when you are up, when you are down, during the day, at night, he doesn't change. When things are going well for you, when it's not going well for you, when you have what you want and you don't have what you want, he's God. So at any point in time, just hold on to him and trust him.
Yes, it was actually hard getting you, I've been on this for the past 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I guess it was time.
But now, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So, and you are getting me at a time that I'm relaxed. This is the only program I have for today. It's not at a time that I have like 5 or 6 things.
Now, what was your first reaction when your husband said he was going into politics? Did you see it coming?
Never. I mean, I've always said that it was one of the most traumatic period of my life. I mean, if I'm looking for a traumatic period, a time that I thought the whole world was crumbling over me, over my family, it was then. But I sought the face of God. Initially, I was angry like I opposed it, and we had a bit of rift in the family, but I swallowed my pride, and I knew that my place was to support my husband. So I had to come to him and accept. And ever since I did, there was no stopping. I'm always behind him. and I'm always backing him, and I know God is with him.
What was the most memorable experience you had during your time as the
day,
wife of the governor?
Every day was memorable. Every day I was doing something new. Every day was unique. Every day was bringing fulfillment to me, because I've never been first lady. So I made up my mind that I was going to enjoy being the wife of the governor, and therefore I enjoyed every day.
In case you're just tuning in, you are listening to Leading Women on Splash 105.5 FM. We'll take a break. When we come back, I'll continue my conversation with Chief Doctor Mrs. Ajimobi. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still Leading Women on Splash 105.5 FM. Grandma, how are you feeling?
It's awesome. A different feeling. The love you have for you think you love your children, but I think it's the gap. You've lost touch with the hugging, the cuddling, and then they start crippling in. I'm relishing it. I'm just having an amazing time.
Now, when you stop your 9-to-5 job after the birth of your third child to hold together the home and all, has it actually been times you wish you had actually come back to work?
Never. Because first and foremost, I had time for my children. I take them to school in the morning. I bring them back in the afternoon. I sit with them. And whilst they're in school, I quickly do my business. And I was making more money than paid employee. When I left work, I guess I was earning like 520 naira. Then, yeah, that was 1984, November to be precise. And the first month that I left work, I made 1,000 naira. So no regrets.
No regrets at all.
I was able to balance, and I had time for my children. Money cannot buy that. That time that I made for them. And when they talk about it, mommy driving, sometimes I drive off, sometimes we're late, I take one way. It's memorable for them too. And they are happy that my mom was taking me to school. What other parents were not doing then. I take them to school, pick them up, do their homework for them, and then I go my way.
What would you say to women out there who believes a 9-to-5 job is the best thing that can actually happen to them?
I'm not saying it's not nice, but when it's affecting your home, you can sacrifice. There's a time for everything. What you sacrifice today will benefit you tomorrow. I sacrificed for my children then. I'm happy at their turnout. I'm happy they're all married except for the last one that I had at almost 39. My husband was almost 50 then. So, but she's graduated from Warwick. She got a 2-1. We gave her the time she needed. If we had missed that opportunity, she might not turn up this way. So I'm not saying, but learn to know when to draw the lines. When anything is affecting your home, stop. Your home, I tell people, is your first ministry. If that home fails, whether with your husband, whether with your children, you have failed as a Christian or a Muslim.
What if it's not working out?
How?
What if it's causing like a threat to life? Domestic violence.
I'm not one for domestic. I fight against it. I frown against it. But sometimes women provoke the men.
Okay, the fact that women provoke men
doesn't mean they should take an advantage of that.
Okay.
But there's nothing that can't be under control. Sometimes I do make my husband angry, but when it gets to that stage, you know what I do? I lock myself in the toilet, and he has to beg me to come out.
Seriously?
I'm telling you.
How many times have you done this ever?
Maybe like 5 or 6 times. When I would say very hurtful, you know what? I'm a woman. At the initial stage, you say terrible things, hurtful things. And then when I know that my mouth has been, I just lock myself and say, I'm going to sleep here. I say, no, come. I say, never. I don't want you to twist my tongue. I'm not coming out. And I stay there. And he will beg me. And I know that he's begging, come out. Then I come out. You don't stay around a man when he's angry or when you know you've done something wrong. There's so many domestic violence that we can be prevented. I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying some men are not out of place. But please, we can't reduce the number of violence we have around us.
Now, to quote from the last paragraph of your book, page 179, you said women have been severely segregated and discriminated against in the society. It has to say, you are a gender equality advocate.
What I'm saying in that last paragraph is that give any woman that is qualified a fair opportunity, and if they can do what their male counterparts can do, why not? But I just find out that in Nigeria, particularly my experience in politics, every opportunity to have a woman do something has always been meeting with a barrier. Let's look at Nigeria in general, not even Oyo State.
Okay.
Look at all appointees and look at what percentage is given to women. Is it fair? If we can do it, we are not asking you to give us something that we are not up to. What a man can do, if a woman is given a fair share, I'm sure she can even do better. But every time they tell you, they have excuses for not giving us opportunities. Even the last election, even at the primary level, how many women were given the opportunity? Even Mrs. Buhari fought for women, but barriers were always there for her. So I'm just saying to the men out there, give us a fair opportunity once we are qualified to do anything. Don't look down on us as women. It's not a disadvantage. We're human beings created by God, beautifully created and very strong. And when you give a woman an opportunity, honestly, I think things get better.
I believe so. Now, what would you describe as the most trying moment of your life so far?
Like I said, it was 2002 when my husband decided to go into politics. 2002. Because we've always been a very close family, just me and my husband and my family. And my husband looked me in my eyes and said, if you are not going to support me, I'm going to do it. So, I mean, that was heartbreaking for me. I've never had him speak to me like that. I've never had him being so determined and ready to do something without me. I thought it was always together. But for the first time, he told me, I'm doing it. And since you are not in support, I didn't need to ask for your permission to do this one. I'm telling you, I'm doing it. It's not something we're going to discuss as a family again. Because that was what I said to him. I said, I thought we should, this is something that is going to affect the family. He said, no, there's nothing to discuss about. I've made up my mind, and that's what I'm doing. And for me, it was very traumatic and heartbreaking for me. But thank God, you see, nothing prayer can solve. Thank God we are where we are today.
Now, of all the milestones you've made, what do you consider your greatest achievements?
Helping the less privileged. It gives me a kind of fulfillment. Helping children that have no one to look after them. My orphanage is the most fulfilling project I've ever done in my life. Because when I see those children, I am always filled with joy. I feel fulfilled, So helping the less privileged is, putting a smile, not even helping, because sometimes you help people, it's not bringing a smile on their face. But when I help somebody and I see that smile on their face, my heart melts. That is what gives me the greatest joy in my life. And that is what I want to continue to do out of office. Continue to help those that I need. I know there isn't much I can do, but in my own little way, let me help as little people as I can.
Because this will actually give you joy.
It gives me joy. It gives me fulfillment. Joy, fulfillment, accomplishment, everything you can think of.
If you had to advise young women listening out there, what would you say to them when it comes to choosing a life partner, choosing a career, being an entrepreneur and all? What would you say?
Choosing a partner, please make sure first and foremost is your friend. If a man has 4 qualities out of the 10 you are looking for, it's a pass mark for me. You can build on the rest. Choosing a career, something you are passionate about. Whatever business you want to do, you must love to do it. I'm a businesswoman. I'm in the retail business. I'm not ashamed to go to any of my stores and start arranging my shelves. I do it because I'm passionate about it. Sometimes I go to other supermarkets and before I know it, reflex action, I'm arranging the shelves for them. That is the passion I'm talking about. So whatever you want to do in life, make sure that it's something that interests you. Like my own mother wanted me to go to the university and study English. I just thought to myself, English, and my friends told me, you study English, you're going to be a teacher. I'm not a patient person, I can't teach. And I knew I wanted to be a rich woman. The most profitable profession then, or the profession in vogue then, was being a secretary.
Okay.
So, and that was why, so it must be something you want to do, something you enjoy doing. Don't just do what your parents want you to do or what your friends are doing. And don't marry somebody you just think you're in love with. Develop a foundation that is called friendship. If friendship is the foundation of your relationship, the marriage would last.
How is life as a grandmother?
I've said that before. It's the most exciting, the happiest moment of my life. I mean, no dull moment. Sometimes I sit in my room when they're not around and I'm watching videos that I've recorded and I'm smiling, and my husband comes in, what's making you laugh? What are you smiling at? And then I show him the video. The joy is, I can't describe it. Having those children, when they say your children will surround your table, your children. So when you have your children's children surrounding your table, it's joy. And I just thank God for that. I was on my 60th birthday, I made a statement. I said, nobody can understand the depth of my gratitude to God. I can't describe it to you. And even when I'm trying to describe, you cannot even understand the depths. We came into Government House in 2011 as a family of 7. We're just 7, 5 children, mom and dad. And today we're 19. What else can I ask God for?
Yeah.
What else? I have in-laws. I have grandchildren. So I just want to say thank you to God for everything. For a life that has been so fruitful, has been so fulfilling for me. A life that has given me peace. This life has given me peace and joy. And that is what everybody asks for. If you have all the wealth in this world and you don't have peace, you are not happy. Of what value is it? But with the little I am contented, I am happy, and I have peace of God. The peace of God that surpasses all others. The wealth of God that surpasses all other wealth. Because you find out that some people, even when they have this so-called money, they're not satisfied. But if it is from God, there is satisfaction in every little thing you have. You might not have much, but whatever you have, you're happy with it. I tell people, if I keep fasting from now till God comes, you're not going to see it. So I'm going to just continue to look better and prettier. It's because of that grace that is in me.
Thank you so much for speaking with me, and thanks for being on Leading Women.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. God bless you.
And that's it on today's edition of the program Leading Women. Join me next week when I bring to you another amazing woman. A big thank you to my production crew, which consists of Tolu, my audio engineer, not forgetting my production assistant, Zainab Sani. For questions, observation, or inquiries, you can send a text message or a WhatsApp message to 0805 733 5451. 0805 733 5451. I remain yours sincerely, Toyin Adepoju. Have yourself a lovely evening.